Whether you bond over streaming binge-worthy videos, watching sports recaps, video gaming, or by unplugging altogether, the 2026 Lincoln Nautilus Hybrid helps keep you connected throughout your journey. Learn more at Lincoln.com. Available connectivity features and functionality vary by model. Package pricing, trials, and term lengths vary by model. Video streaming and games are only available while parked.
By the time I hit my 50s, I'd learned a few things, like how family is precious. Work can always wait. And 99% of people over 50 already have the virus that causes shingles. Not everyone at risk will develop it, but I did. The painful, blistering rash disrupted my life for weeks. Don't learn about your shingles risk the hard way. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today. Sponsored by GSK.
You're juggling a lot, but you can still squeeze in a financial plan. With the Northwestern Mutual Financial Advisor as your partner, it's not only possible, it's personalized. So if you're tying the knot, closing on a house, or welcoming a little one, you'll be ready for whatever life tosses your way. It's the right time to feel less stressed and more certain. That's a better way to money. Let's get started at nm.com. The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Well, that was altogether a little bit more jolly than the equivalent game a week before.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? 3-0 victory. Ollie's skin saved. I don't know how close he was to getting the boot. It depends who you believe, really. But he needed that. I wasn't actually surprised that there was more intensity. If there wasn't more intensity, that would have been a massive red flag. But it's still... I couldn't help but think, and this might just be my cynical take, we'll get onto the details, but I couldn't help but think, you pull out a performance like that when you really need to, you're cheating your manager, to coin a phrase. Yeah? Why isn't that the normal level of performance? And I kind of mean the intensity of it, and organisation. And I guess the defensive part of it was helped by, 1, Tottenham being absolutely dreadful, and 2, 3 at the back, 5 at the back, giving United that extra man for when Tottenham did get into some advanced positions. Not very often, though, I have to say. So.
Yeah, and all three of those centre-backs can step out into central midfield as well, and so there just wasn't the situation as much where there were just massive gaps, because the team felt a lot more compacted defensively. So I know what you mean when you say cheating the manager. And it's something, you've talked about it with Chelsea and like various different things over the years. The one thing about this that I think that's a slightly unfair label to give the players is that, first of all, the players have bailed this manager out time and time and time and time and time again.
It's true.
And one of the reasons they were able to put in a performance of this intensity, I don't believe that there's a single player in that side who wanted to win this game more than they wanted to beat Liverpool at home at Old Trafford. I wonder whether they were able to give that intensity because they had a structure that made sense to them.
Yeah, well, perhaps, yeah. I mean, it made sense to, in particular, Harry Maguire to cover for some of his deficiencies, which have been exposed rather brutally in the last 3 games, fitness, as well as those deficiencies. And for Ronaldo, who needed someone closer to him, but not too close to him. So he had a partner in Cavani and Bruno in between the lines, which doesn't happen as much in the 4-2-3-1 system. So, sure, yes, absolutely. Greater solidity at the back and cater to Ronaldo's needs. We'll see whether that's a one-off. I kind of suspect, Solskjaer being Solskjaer, this will not be a one-off, and this will be the system we play at Atalanta, because you'd expect them to be with, I assume, some returning players a bit stronger and at home, and then City next weekend. And then we'll see after that, because I think it might be the international break after that. But yeah, if he can get through those 2 games, then he's bought himself some more time, which he's managed to do in his 3 years. There's been, as he talked about before the game, there have been several crises while he's been in charge. So the sacrifice, of course, is, we had Sancho, Greenwood and Rashford all on the bench. I was going to say Van der Beek for a minute then, but he's basically dead at this stage, isn't he? He won't be used, doesn't matter what happens. And all to cater for, again, Ronaldo's needs. So it doesn't feel like a long-term strategy. And the other thing, this is the last meta point I'll make, which is that's a wild change from, what was an attempt, very poor attempt at a high-pressing 4-2-3-1, more of a possession-based system against Leicester and Liverpool, particularly poor against those two. A bit more open to give, to make the pitch wider, going to a low block 5-2-1-2 type system, very, very congested in midfield and defensive areas and very narrow, and it made it a lot more solid defensively. Spurs didn't have a shot on target. But that's a mega change, and I just couldn't help but think, at this stage, what is Ollie Ball? Is it just reacting game by game? And fine, maybe you can get on a cup run doing that. Maybe you could get into 4th place given the competition around you, but you're never going to win any major big pots doing that, I don't think.
So I don't overtly disagree with anything that you said at all there, but I do think there's a couple of things that are almost kind of counter arguments in a way, which is one, not about the overall guiding philosophy of Ole Ball, because I think it's been abundantly clear right from the beginning that was reactive and as adaptive and all those kinds of things. And I think he would be quite pleased to be called adaptive, in that way. And I think I do think it's a mistake to try and set up an elite team in that way, because of how no elite team's ever been set up that way. Well, not ever, but since 2012-13, right. And which was a very adaptive team, by the way, in that league season. Ferguson dramatically changed the style of play to accommodate the weaknesses in the squad and shore things up when it felt like we had our noses in front in the title race. But the switch to 3 at the back, I know what you mean when you say it's to accommodate Maguire and Ronaldo. And of course, that's literally, especially Ronaldo, literally true. But Ronaldo's there. He's going to play every game. So the manager, now that Ronaldo's been signed, you have to accommodate Ronaldo. So that's almost like priority number 1 for the whole thing, which it shouldn't be, because we should never have signed Ronaldo. But now that you have, why wouldn't you try and get the best out of him? Because the best is this extraordinary level of... Yeah. So I get that logic for sure, and we'll come on to details, but, he kind of proved that point, didn't he, with his first goal? So, yeah. And anyway, finish your point. Yeah. Just the you've got to have a system that works for him. And the criticism that's been levelled at Solskjaer time and time again, and often not incorrectly and occasionally slightly overstatedly, is no tactics, just vibes. And to be fair, he's looked at the team, looked at what's not working, made a tactical shift and won 3-0. I feel like going, you haven't got any backbone to stick behind the system that wasn't working. Why aren't you? I know that's obviously not what you're doing, but it's like the fact that it's a wild swing in the other direction is true, but it was smart and effective. Although
sure, it was smart and effective for this game. But the thing that the other thing, that was like top of mind thinking about the move to this system is there were just too many defensive players or too many players that aren't that comfortable on the ball. Now, the back 3, as you mentioned, they're happy to pop out into midfield, varying levels of quality in terms of their range of passing, I'd say, we could talk about them all being good, but any of Maguire and Lindelof gets pressed and they panic very quickly, right? Tottenham are not that team at all. They don't press even in their own box, as we saw. So, there's varying levels of comfort there. But if as often happened in this game, United had a 4 of Shaw, McTominay, Fred and Wan-Bissaka with 3 ahead of them, basically. And they had a lot of the ball, that 4. And there's definitely a limited range of attacking possibilities coming out that far, which is why I kind of bring myself, again, I'm sorry, I'm making a larger point here. If we persist with this system, it feels like too many, and one of Fred and McTominay for sure could probably be sacrificed, and maybe even Wan-Bissaka, because he's absolutely world-class in one-on-one defensive situations, as we saw with an amazing block, and he's absolutely dreadful in forward positions every single time. It's just you can just let him have it as an opposition because he's going to do nothing with it. Anyway,
one of the things that I think this system, one of the players this system could also accommodate is Pogba. So you could play Pogba in place of McTominay in that side. I heard some people say you could put Pogba in for Fred. It's like Fred is on a different planet to McTominay. Like McTominay is, I don't want to attack the man's character because he clearly loves the game, but either he is really bad at reading systemic patterns of play, or he doesn't want the ball. It's one of the two, because he puts a defender between him and he puts an attacking player between him and the defender on the ball. Like a pressing player is often in the lane to try and get the ball to McTominay, and it happens time after time after time after time. It's very strange. But anyway,
yeah. I mean, Maguire, in an ideal world, McTominay would be a very useful squad player, and one that's developing but is short of real elite status. Fred, I mean, he's got a lot to him, hasn't he? He's got a lot to him. He's in the Brazilian team at the moment for a reason. And if only he was not so casual with the ball, he could become a very good player for United. But it's an if only we've been looking at for quite a long time.
Absolutely. Well, there's so many, aren't there? I mean, Pogba, if only we could find a way to get a system around him that worked for him, etc., etc. But the thing with Fred and being casual on ball is the back three does offer you an extra level of solidity, and in if the ball gets turned over, which is
it did yesterday. There were times when the three of them were narrow in front of United's goal, and a cross came in, missed the first man, and Varane cleared it up. It gave United a third man in a very narrow formation. It was much more secure.
And the other player that it potentially benefits at the moment is Luke Shaw, who's having a pretty torrid season, and it means that his defensive mistakes are covered up for, and all the good stuff he does going forward, which is continued to be progressive and positive minded and all those kinds of things.
And his starting position is 15 or 20 yards further forward, which helps that attacking bit. Yeah,
exactly. So
on the other side, though, I mean, if I was looking at that and I was Ole Solskjaer, I'd be thinking, well, we've got that extra defensive cover, and we've got three defenders and two sitting in front of them. That's a lot of defensive cover. Does Wan-Bissaka offer enough going forward to justify his place in the team?
Yeah, but apart from you play Dalot there, that's the only real option, and he has something about him going forward on the right, not so much on the left, Diogo. Sorry, but you have one less defensive cover if you swap out McTominay and put Pogba in there, and then the balance of that side kind of makes a degree of sense. But the thing that doesn't make sense, of course, is that the squad isn't built for it. The squad is built to play 4-2-3-1 because we are talking about players of the standard and caliber, wherever you place these three players in particular, the standard and caliber of Greenwood, Rashford, and Jadon Sancho. Are we really saying as a club, okay, we're going to make a system? The only way we can get a system that works is if these three are all essentially bit part players.
Yeah, or I mean, at least in the case of Greenwood and Rashford, they can play through the centre. And I mean, although Ronaldo is basically going to play every game until we're in the Conference League or whatever it is when we drop out into the Europa, which is a real possibility. Cavani might not. I mean, he hasn't done this season. So there's a chance there. Jadon Sancho doesn't fit anywhere in this system.
The other absolutely mad thing about it is that Cavani is the last player in the entire squad the entire team that you should drop in this system, because he is. I mean, we saw the difference it makes to the press to have Edinson Cavani up there. The difference it makes, the movement off the ball, that Edinson Cavani brings.
Particularly
The space that Cavani will create for Ronaldo. My goodness gracious me. And you know, like that is listen, I know some listeners will hate me for saying this, and don't worry, you've only got another month to put up with it. Cristiano Ronaldo is literally one of my least favourite footballers of all time. Like, he does, and kind of never has really done anything for me. Like, very early Ronaldo was super exciting, but as soon as he became the kind of ego monster Ronaldo, for me there was like a huge disconnect between what an extraordinarily destructive and effective player he was and how I felt about him in a like positive and warm sense.
And his destructiveness, just going to say his destructiveness now leads to a sphere of goal scoring and not much else, which he scored, 7 now for United this season? That's a lot of goals. And a lot of not great performances as a result.
It was all build up to saying, if you've got Ronaldo in your squad, why the hell wouldn't you do everything you can to make a system that works for having Ronaldo in your squad?
That's what they're going to do, I think.
Yeah,
so.
And the reason that that's worth doing is the productivity you will get out of this player is absolutely unbelievable. Like, his career is a testament to the power of productivity, and he's adapted and changed all the way through his career. And this the end of his career that we're watching, the final chapter of his career, will continue to be categorised by a capacity that no one else in the squad can match, not even Cavani, for sheer ability to put the blooming ball in the back of the blooming net. Like, yes. This guy, his nose for goal is... I mean, there might never have been anyone ever who was better at putting the ball in the back of the net than Ronaldo.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's a nice segue. Let's talk about his first goal, because, I mean, this was something special, wasn't it? The ball from Bruno, who's drifted out to the left, and it also, actually, I think it's fair to say this system does help Bruno get into those half spaces between the 4 behind him and the 2 in front of him. It does help him, undoubtedly, right? He doesn't need to go deeper searching for the ball. Anyway, so he's drifted to the left in that half space. And it's an absolutely magnificent pass. I mean, it's incredible. I'm assuming he's thinking Ronaldo's going to try and cut one back. I mean, instead, Ronaldo pulls off a worldy volley into a tiny fraction of space past Lloris, who can't have been thinking he was going to shoot. Or maybe, I guess you have to assume it's Ronaldo on the ball. He's always going to shoot. He's very effective at finding space to shoot for himself. And, I mean, it's just an absolutely stunning finish.
Yeah. Yeah, and it came after a period of United pressure and build-up. And it's weird to discuss this game because, you know, I'm being reasonably like positive about the manager's decision and all these kinds of things. We won 3-0 at an absolute canter. Spurs were dreadful.
I mean, when we joked about Nuno being like mini Mourinho, he absolutely is. I mean, he sucked everything out of this team, all the good stuff. You know, where you get Son and Kane and Moura or Bergwijn or, you know, whatever combination it is, pushing forward. Dele Alli's now out the side, not trusted. I mean, he's not the first manager that's not trusted Dele Alli. He played Skip and Højbjerg, who are even more limited than McFred. I mean, significantly more limited than McFred. I mean, there's no ambition at all. I mean, Harry Kane is basically now a midfielder. They must be regretting turning down 120 million for now. He's a decent midfielder, but you know, he's not going to score 30 goals from midfield, is he? I mean,
no, he's not. And he's kind of forced into being a midfielder by Skip and Højbjerg being there. Have we found a holding too that we wouldn't swap McFred for?
We have that. Well, and Lo Celso as well, who came with, you know, I'd seen him a few times before actually, and at Betis, and I thought, oh, here's a creative player. He looks kind of interesting. You know, adaptation for a small guy into the Premier League may be challenging, but I mean, he was disappointing as well. You know.
Lo Celso I give a huge pass to because he arrived to play for Maurizio Pochettino in one of the most exciting teams in the world, and then found himself a creative, slightly mercurial attacking midfielder being managed by
Nuno.
Like No, not Nuno.
Mourinho.
Nuno is the aftershock. Mourinho is the earthquake. Like he's like trying to get back on his feet, and Nuno keeps like speaking a slightly Portuguese accent, and he's getting bad PTSD flashbacks.
Right, but the other thing that was weird about Nuno's selection is, Reguilon is very, very good going forward. Question marks about his defending and all of that, but he gives Spurs an outlet, and Ben Davies is like, he's solid enough. Lost Ronaldo for the United's opening goal, though, mind you, but offers pretty much nothing going forward. So they've got, and I've just, spent 10 minutes critiquing United's setup in a 3-0 win. So, I understand where there may be some pushback. I mean, Tottenham basically had the same blueprint. It was just and really weird. And he's so, and the other one who couldn't, the other change maker that he didn't have is, of course, Ndombele, who's, again had an in and out Spurs career, but he can pull off a long range shot. He's got a range of passing that's superior. I mean, it's like this is a United side just been absolutely destroyed by Leicester and then Liverpool. And Nuno's thought process was not, I'm going to go for them, but I'm a bit scared.
Yeah, and in a way you could say, okay, well, they've got these players of this extraordinary quality, and if we really, really leave spaces in behind, we could be in big trouble. But then you see the starting 11, and you go, well, what? Because Cavani's getting... I mean, that did literally happen. The one time they left spaces in behind. Was that the second goal?
That's the second goal, yeah.
Yeah. But, it's not like Rashford, Greenwood, Sancho are the front three in this game.
No, maybe he was thinking Greenwood be in the side or something,
I've just really annoyed myself by imagining the season we would be having if Rashford, Greenwood and Sancho was up front three. Anyway,
I know it all changed on the end of August, 2 days before the transfer window, the plans all changed. Yeah. The second goal you mentioned, Bruno robs someone, I forget who he robs, but it was good pressure, wasn't it? And feeds it out to Ronaldo, who does the Ronaldo chop and completely destroys, I think it's Ben Davies again, isn't it? Feeds the ball through, and it's just a beautiful finish from Cavani. Movement, the curved run, the bent run to beat the defender, and then the finish. It's just quality.
Yeah, it was both of those first two goals are just such an outstanding level of individual quality from all involved, and this is the kind of game why when the wheels were coming off. And I was thinking, was I way too bold to say we're easily going to get into the Champions League even if we have a bad season? This is the kind of game where you're like, I think we're going to get into the Champions League even if we have a bad season, because we'll have enough games where... And, there was talk in the press before the game that I saw, which was the board feel there's still enough backing for Solskjaer within the dressing room that then it's not going to negatively affect the performance to have him in the dressing room. And that... is a pretty... I mean, you are seriously damning with faint praise at this point, aren't you? But it is something. And there's been all sorts coming out this week. I mean, there's loads of chat about Conte. We talked about managerial options last time. Pochettino happy in Paris. It's all, who knows what's going to happen next. But if we beat Atalanta, I would say that's him... At least another kind of 4 or 5 games before it really hits crisis point. Although, having said that, I do think at any time we lose 3 games on the bounce, it's going to get to a serious crisis point here.
Yeah, we'll come to Atalanta and then City, and we'll see if he can stave off the crisis again. But yeah, beat Atalanta, probably heading through the Champions League. That keeps him in job till February, March, probably at least.
I think so.
And then likely to the end of the season if United are within a sniff of the top 4 and, fifth now. Same points as Arsenal, who we've mocked all season and all last season.
You sent that meme, that infinite Arteta-Solskjaer paradox meme, and it's just so funny to me.
It's just on point, isn't it?
Exactly. The two of them are compared to each other often and mocked by the other group of fans often and backed by certain people often, and it's all very tribal, and they're having a very similar experience.
I do not take part in any of that chatter on the internet about whether Solskjaer's in or out or whatever, because I can't bear it. It's basically United fans fighting each other. Two angry men shouting each other on the internet is the history of the internet, isn't it? And it's we've now found business models that amplify that and scale it up
Why this is the mistake that we've always made commercially speaking, in it. Like we were called Rankcast. We had such an in to do that, and instead we're like, oh, let's have mindful conversation and try and use some intellect and think about these things reasonably dispassionately.
I know.
Damn it.
We messed it up. Anyway, at what point was it that Ronaldo scored that absolute banger of an offside goal? Was it after he got his first or after Cavani's?
After he'd got his first, but Cavani hadn't scored yet, it would have made it 2-0.
What a unbelievable finish.
I was gonna say, like, his first goal wasn't his best goal of the day.
I know.
Like that second goal that will be. I mean, he was clearly offside. Wasn't like a tight VAR-ish.
No. He was a very thick line away from being onside. So,
but what a goal!
But yeah, most players would try and dink it over the keeper, in, go around the keeper. No, I'm just going to lash one into the top corner.
The Mkhitaryan scorpion kick rule should be applied to this goal. Like, a goal that good should not be ruled out for something as petty as being a few yards offside. I think
that's fair enough, isn't it? Yeah. Can't be offside if you score from outside the box. There you go. I think that...
Yeah. Oh, my God. What a good rule.
That would be a great rule. Great rule.
Legitimate. Like, seriously, what's the downside of that rule?
Well, no, you could have people hanging around the D, I suppose, so it would spread the game out somewhat, but... Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a bad...
But you have to shoot from outside the box.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The goal has to be shot from outside the box. Yeah, no, absolutely. And it can't be offside. Maybe let's specify. If it's scored from outside the box and hit the underside of the bar, then any offside is like not. That's
extra point for underside of the bar.
Yeah, exactly.
All righty.
Who scored
Marcus
the third
Rashford.
goal? Oh, yes.
Scoring.
Happy birthday as we record this to a young king, 24 years old. 24, he's so young. He's 20 years younger than me and more than 20 years younger than you. Not putting your stuff on blast.
Just age shame me there. Go on.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, listen, we live in a youth-obsessed society. There's nothing wrong with aging. Apart from the aches and pains and stuff, but you can do stuff about them. Anyway, the Rashford goal was lovely, and it was nice.
He seems to score that goal every week at the moment. He's got 3 since he came back now, and that feels like, well, he scored the identical goal the week before, didn't he? When was it? Against Atalanta or Leicester? I can't remember.
No, it was against... I feel like he scored a goal that was a good... it was against Leicester, because that was an equaliser at the time. My God. Bad shudders. But yeah, we didn't then immediately collapse and concede 3 goals, which was nice. I mean, Tottenham had chances. United didn't have that many high-quality chances. We talked about the chances they did create. I do think this was partly the sheer lack of pressure on United meant that we weren't throwing the kitchen sink at them at any point. And then once it was 2-0, this game was done and dusted.
Yeah.
Spurs fans...
Spurs sees 1.16 XG, but 0.86 of that 1.16 were from corners, basically.
Yeah.
So...
Well, that's a very good route to goal against Man United.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, a great win for, loved by the travelling Reds that were there.
Yep.
If Ole's time is limited, I'm sure they were glad to get another kind of moment of connection with him, because that relationship between that group of supporters and Solskjaer has been unbelievably special. That's been unbelievably special when he was a player. That's one of the things about his time at the club, was the level to which he was beloved by the fans, not just for 1999, but for his relentless hard work and his kind of never complaining about being on the bench and his sheer love of United. So that that love story at least had one more nice chapter.
Yes, and he got to talk about the character of the lads and this club, as he does afterwards, and he can feel very happy about that performance, and he was giving it a bit of fist pumping on the sidelines. He's managed to turn it around. I don't know how many crises there have been, but there have been many, and there will be more.
Yeah, and it's like, has he turned it around, or are Spurs really bad? Those we'll find out If that is a galvanising result and they go on a little run, I don't think any of us would be particularly shocked. I do think it is very worth pointing out that he was instrumental in this win because he completely changed the tactical setup of the side, tried something completely new, and it worked.
It did.
So,
there was that thing floating
done.
around on the internet, and I have no idea about the veracity of this story. But the story basically goes, McKenna and Carrick, who take most of the training sessions, have been training with a 3-5-2 a lot this season. With the idea that is the system that would get the best out of this team. And then Phelan and Solskjaer come in and pick the team and the tactics, and it's all completely different. And there's a complete disconnect in the social. It can't be true in the specificity like that. I mean, I read that and thought, well, that scans a little bit that there might be some dysfunction in the coaching because we've seen it on the pitch. Yeah,
definitely. But I mean, if that is true, then McKenna and Carrick both want sacking because you can't just be like, no, this is the formation we should play. And we're just going to train the formation we should play. It's like, well, how about we train the formation we play, lads?
Well, yes, and I don't know what the level of conversation is around that. But look, either way, it is true, and I think fairly well confirmed that McKenna and Carrick take most of the sessions, and Solskjaer does not.
Yeah.
And coming back to the debate around coaching, which we've had a lot over the last few weeks. And the wisdom of putting a couple of learners in charge of an F1 car, which is basically what we've got, and they may be brilliant. They may be. Hard to say.
Well, it doesn't look like it, does it?
It doesn't when it translates to what we've had on the pitch for most stuff. Anyway, come back to your point, Ole deserves a lot of credit. He made the change. And he got the best out of United for this game. We'll see what it means going forward. We got a interesting looking game against Atalanta. They were dreadful at Old Trafford as well. They were very positive for the first 45 minutes and they just completely crumbled. And it wasn't really surprising given they had 3 of their first choice defenders out and then lost another one in the middle of the game. And were playing 2 midfielders and a teenager in their back 3 after that. So we know what they want to do. They want to be high pressing. They get their wing backs really high up the pitch. And it creates overloads, and I assume they're going to be better in Wednesday's game than they were last week.
Yeah, I mean, the United's performance against them was so bad in that first half. United are going to be better as well, I would imagine. I'd be surprised if we were as just open and just pathetic, really, as we were in the first half. The first half that I will always think of for the Paul Scholes quote, that first half put me off the second half.
It's a great line.
Yeah, it really is. And I find it completely impossible to predict what's going to happen in this game. I mean, there's part of me that thinks actually United will play that same system that they did. Pogba might come in for McTominay. They'll be more robust and solid, and they'll still have more than enough going forward to trouble Atalanta in the space that's left, particularly if Pogba's in there. And you've got progressive passing. You play Pogba on the right of the midfield too, and he can fill in the areas where Wan-Bissaka, he can support Wan-Bissaka and be an attacking threat down that side. You're now talking about a system that potentially works going forward and backwards. So that could work, and United could go a couple of goals down. If he plays a back 4, they could get really flaky again. I mean, I think Varane being back is massive as well. Yeah, that's another huge factor.
Yes, he's going to help Harry Maguire along. Not that you should really have to help an £80 million defender, but hey, it does.
I almost think it's on one hand, that might be right to say he's helping him, but it's more like Lindelof is really hurting him, and he's like Varane is not actively hurting him in any way.
I mean, yes, the Lindelof and Maguire. I know United's defence wasn't that bad last season, actually. I mean, not that far off the best defensive teams in the league. Oh, but there's some
United's defensive record wasn't bad. United's defence was.
Anyway, I mean, I think whoever's fit, and Atalanta have drew yesterday against Lazio, beat Sampdoria in midweek, and drew with Udinese. So that's their 3 games since they played us. Looks like they've got some of their players back, although Darun played in the back 3 yesterday, and he's a midfielder. But, we know how they're going to play. Zappacosta and Mela will get forward a lot, and they will press high. They played Zapata up front yesterday as well, and I do think he is the kind of player that will give Lindelof trouble in particular, and Maguire, because he's got good movement. But the third, I'm 100% certain. Although of course I've been proven to have gotten many things wrong in football over the years, but I'm 100% certain that the back 3 will be persisted with. There's no way he's going to a more open system for this game. And it should give United some security. The question is, will they be able to trouble Atalanta? If it's an open Atalanta like they were at Old Trafford, then yes, probably will have enough.
Yep. And there's such ridiculous game-changing firepower to bring on from the bench.
So there's that, and then there's a big one on Sunday. Early kickoff on Sunday.
Is it Sunday or Saturday early?
Saturday early, yeah.
Yeah. They just got towed up by Crystal Palace, which was a surprising result, it's
Palace
fair to say.
It's got some good goals as well. Zaha was on fire.
Yeah. Palace just are good, and we'll talk about that in the backers content. Vieira doing a tremendous job at Palace so far. But yeah, City have got some problems. They're in a weird space as a team, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if they win the Champions League and the league. Like, that's entirely possible. But they are in a weird space as a team. There's we would have known how Pep's Barcelona would play and pretty much what the starting 11 was, but there does seem to be a little bit more instability about the starting 11 at City. Maybe it's just because he's got way better options available to him.
He has. Sterling's out of the picture at the moment, but he played Foden as a false 9 against Palace, Jesus on the right, and Grealish off the left. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that again, but it'll be some kind of version of that. He's lost Laporte for the United game because he'll be suspended. I guess Stones, who is now out of favour again after being in favour last season, will come into the side. But everything else picks itself. I don't know what balance exactly he'll play in midfield. He played Silva, De Bruyne and Rodri as his 3 in midfield. Rodri, the slightly deeper one. Sometimes he brings Gundogan in, but Gundogan's been kind of more of an 8 this season, pushing forward, as he was last season, to be fair. So, plenty of options. They will have 70% of the ball, and United will play that back 3, back 5, and try and play it very narrow in order that they can't just walk the goal in, the Pep goal.
It's sad, but we just need to play really narrow, and because the amount of interplay and movement, it's just feels like United kryptonite, the way that their front 3 interact. Grealish and Foden definitely feel like United kryptonite in terms of their movement and interplay. That's
and the extra defensive man will be really useful there. I do kind of worry, or my concern is, will United be able to get it forward at all? Because we've beaten them with quick guys going forward in the past. And Solskjaer has beaten City 3 times, I think. It's the last one, United actually had more of the ball in that one and were more dominant, the 2-0 at the Etihad. I think I'm right in saying it's that one. But previously it's been sit deep, try and break. If he plays a similar side to the one against Spurs, there's not a lot of pace there, is there? Bruno, Cavani, Ronaldo are not going to be charging forward on quick breaks.
No, absolutely. Right, so predictions.
I think we'll get something out of this Atalanta game. So I'm going to say a 2-1 victory there, and that should be enough to take United through. Maybe just one more point will be needed. Yeah. I think after that 3-0, I'll whatever has just happened will be the next thing that happens. So,
I'll go with a United victory against Atalanta 2-1, but I do not think we're going to beat City. In fact, I think we're going to lose to them. But then that's good, because I've thought we're going to lose to them every single time we've beaten them. So why change the habit of all that time? I'm going to say a 2-1 win to City.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to predict United will score no goals because of all the potential firepower. But, yeah. I don't know how, and Solskjaer may surprise me, I don't know how United will get enough of, or any of the ball, and cause City enough problems. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory to City. Hopefully I'm completely wrong and I've misread Solskjaer again.
You can cause City problems by attacking them. I mean, Zaha just tortured them, and we've got players that can run at them with the ball, and you can just, if you just attack City of the Death Star, right? You've just got to get into that channel straight down the middle and find that little thing the size of a womp rat or whatever. And that's how you do it.
I mean, Palace have got players with a lot of movement. In Odsonne Edouard and Wilf Zaha and Ayew played up front yesterday. A constant movement.
But so do United. So
can United, in theory. Can.
Even Ronaldo moves around a lot when the ball's in the final third. So,
yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back with another one of these next week. Thanks especially to our Patreon backers, for whom there is more content coming right now. You can get in touch with the show on social media stuff, where we are at NQAT Pod on pretty much everything. And I'll be there not for much longer, but even for now. I had a few more incredibly lovely messages, so just wanted to shout out everyone that said that, said nice stuff. And we'll be back next week. Patreon backers, stay tuned.
All right, see you next week, folks.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.